Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited that we are joining the Brushwood Media Network, and this is our first show here on the network, and I'm so excited because one of my favorite people in the world is here with me, and we're going to be talking about the formation of what we're doing and how we got to be where we're at, and also some of the things that we did in the opening, which is a little bit new. And it's really is, and I want people to understand how important that opening is because it means a lot. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot to the planet and people that may not know exactly what it is we're trying to say. So we're going to talk about that today, and we're also going to talk about Dana and her work. She's my coach, she's my friend, she's mom of a billion, and she does. She does some great work. So with that, Dana, welcome to the I knew I would do that. The Brushwood Media Network presentation of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. How are you?
Yay, I'm so happy to be here. I feel so lucky that I could be on this first call.
Well, I couldn't think of anybody else to do this with because I want to go through the process that you and I went through when we were discussing what we were going to call the show, how we were going to frame it, what we're going to do with it, and what we mean by the things that we did. So that'll be fun to do. And in about 8 minutes or so, I'm going to give you a minute, and we're going to take a break. But I'm going to give you a minute to tell everybody what you do, how they can get a hold of you, and all of that kind of thing. So that will be part of our first break. But it's just great to see you again. Did you have a nice New Year Eve?
Yes. Yeah, New Year's was fun. It was simple and relaxing, and I always really love the New Year transition into new beginnings. I like the fresh start feel. You know, I have my vision board that I've made and created. I have my goals. I have my phrase that is my focus for the year. These are just things that I absolutely love and I'm all about. So it's a good time of year.
Well, and the one thing that I'm really excited about talking to you about is that because you do the vision board and you put together things for yourself that then you talk to other people about them doing it for themselves to create a life that they can live happily and completely for the entire year. And that's why you are so talented at what you do. And we started talking about this about a month and a half, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
And we couldn't come up with, we went through a complete exercise of finding just the right, because for this presentation, I wanted it to be the absolute right thing, the very best that we could do that would explain what it is that we believe and what we are after everybody that listens to this so that they can take this and learn it for themselves. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so we started out with, do you remember how we started this whole process out?
Yeah, we were just talking about the show and what our hopes were, and you were really sharing at the root kind of your dreams and big vision picture of things that you wanted to integrate, things that you wanted to bring into the show. And I think we really wanted to find a name for the show that matched that really was fitting for that would explain well our intentions for our listeners and what we really want.
And we spent a lot of time. It was like it was like word mashing or something like that to try and figure out, because we started with, I see, originally, for those who don't know me and don't know my story, I started out 20 years ago with the thought in my head. I'd been a manager and I'd had the house and the wife and the kids and all that stuff. But I started out thinking, why am I really here? I was 42, I think. And I didn't feel like I was exactly in the right place for me. And what was it that I really wanted to accomplish in my life? And was it to sell dead chicken? No. Was it to be a manager? No. I wanted to do something greater and grander, but I had no idea what it was. And so that's the question that we started this program with was, okay, why does everybody do the same thing at one point in time in their life? And everybody says, why am I really here?
Mm.
And what am I here to do?
Mm-hmm.
Did you find that in your client base that happens a lot?
Oh yeah. And I think this is a reoccurring question. And through different phases of our lives, we'll ask ourselves this question. And I think because what it comes down to is we hit these, when we're teenagers and we're imagining adult life, we have these goals and visions. But then when we hit those, a lot of times we can feel a plateau, or we can feel kind of like the monotony of life. And that's when we start to kind of question, well, why am I here? What is it that I really want to be doing? And I think it's a very fundamental question that we all come back to again and again. And often, if any of you are goal setters, or any of you who you understand this concept, when you set goals, when you come close to hitting that goal, or you hit that goal, it's like, well, now what? And then there's another goal, and then there's another goal. And that's really, our souls are wired for that. We're wired to continue evolving and to find great satisfaction in that. The question is, do you know yourself good enough? Do you know your greatness good enough to then have goals that align with who you are at your core, the things that are going to be what I call the most soul fulfilling goals in mind for you?
And you just said it perfectly, because one of the things that we came to in our discussion was greatness. Now, is greatness something that you acquire? Is it something that some people don't have and other people do, or they have various degrees of greatness? And we came to the conclusion that no, you were born that way. Everybody has greatness. And we spend our life understanding that and then knowing what our greatness is.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time to figure that out.
Yeah, and it keeps evolving. That's where the adventure of a lifetime part really came in for us, as we were talking about this journey of knowing your greatness. It is an evolutionary process over time. And it continues to take place because life continues to unfold for us. Life continues to bring challenges or opportunities for us to then see new parts of ourselves. It's like all the you can see it in the big changes of life, like when you graduate and you go to college and you have all these hopes and dreams, you get that job, there's this evolution of who you are. That first job, it challenges you to reach new heights, to push yourself, to really expand yourself. Same thing when you go from not having kids to having kids. That is very expansive. You grow through that. Parts of you learn new parts of yourself. And throughout life continues to unfold and give you opportunities to grow into new parts of you, to know new parts of you. And that's why we really do, knowing your greatness is really the adventure of a lifetime.
I couldn't agree more. And I wrote down as part of my bio, And we need to take a break real quick because we're going to talk about Dana and how you can get a hold of her and all of that. So let's do that real quick. And this is going to be a live break. So we're just going to go, and I'm going to sit back and I'm going to have Dana tell everybody how they can get a hold of her, how they can work with her.
So the best way to get a hold of me and to work with me is through my website, innerworldmovement.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Dana Parker, DAYNA PARKER. Through those, I also am on Instagram at innerworld.dana. And those are the ways to really get a hold of me. On my website, there's a scheduling opportunity that you can just set up a free consultation call to see what it would look like to work with me. And really my purpose and what I love to do is to help people understand themselves on a foundational root level, not through your biases of your own ideas about yourself, but through what I like to call gene keys, human design, just knowing yourself foundationally, your purpose, what you're here to learn, what keeps you healthy, and your life's work. And so helping people understand those and live that out. That is where I love to take these amazing ideas and concepts and bring them into real life. What does it look like to live that for you? So it's really a very integrative process, helping people take action to align with what they're here to do.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, and Dana Parker is here. She just explained to us how to get a hold of her and what she does. And I do have to tell you, I know for a fact she is everything that she says she is. She also works with divorced people, and especially women. You have a soft place in your heart for women to try and get them so that they can live their life completely and fully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I have to tell you, I was doing my bio, and I was looking at where I started, which wasn't obviously high school. I went to a really unique high school, one of a kind, that they no longer do because it doesn't work. And so the dropout rate was 40% in the high school that I went to, 40%. And
wow.
so I got to play a lot of basketball. I got to learn how to play pinochle and do a lot of fun stuff like that. But I wasn't prepared for going to college. I even had scholarships to play football in college, and I wasn't able to go because I didn't have enough credits to get through high school. And so then I really was lost, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. My dad worked for Nordstrom, so I went to work for Nordstrom. I hate children's shoes and women's shoes. And so I did that for a little while. I was a roofer for a little while. The funny story about when I was a roofer was the owner of the company stood there and looked at work that I'd done and said, I don't know how you did that, but it's wrong. And so they had to redo it and stuff. And then I went to work as a night stalker at Fred Meyer for a while. And then I became a cabinet maker. I hated them all. Hated Dana. I hated them all. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. Had absolutely no idea. So you know what job it was that changed my life? You'll never guess. The graveyard dishwasher at Denny's.
Really?
Because I'd always wanted to work in restaurants. I liked being around people. I liked serving people and taking care of things. But so I had never been able to do that. And so I got hired in a dilapidated area of town at a Denny's that nobody wanted to work at. And they started me out as a graveyard dishwasher. And I did fine at that, except the first time I busted a table, I almost threw up, but that's a story for another time. But you do. I did that job, and then I became a busboy. Then I became a host. Then I became a waiter, and then a cook. And then I went on the opening team and opened new restaurants. I became an assistant manager because I thrived. And you never know what it's going to be that's going to make you thrive. And a lot of times you don't. you think you might know, but you don't know until you actually get there.
Yeah.
And so that started a 20-year run of working in the restaurant business and being a general manager, and I had 75 people report and all that kind of good stuff. And then I sold chicken and stuff. And that was really, but it's all started with the very beginning of going to work as a graveyard dishwasher, but it satisfied my passion
Mm.
to a degree. And over time, that's and then I ended up leaving that world to go into this world, which is just a natural progression for me. So it's all
Mhm.
worked really well. And then I get to meet people like you that are just extraordinary human beings, and
Mhm.
it became a lot of fun for me. But you're right, there came a point where there was a wall.
Mhm.
I'd done
Yep.
everything that I thought I could do,
Yep.
but now what?
Yeah. Yeah, those walls can be some of our greatest gifts if we're willing to adjust with them. If we stay in them for too long beyond what we're meant for, if we stay in it actually it can be very hurtful for our happiness, our joy, our even our mental health. And so those can be some of our greatest gifts to give us signs and signals that it's time to shift and something different. It's time to change. And I'm really happy you listened to that, Kevin, because that is why we're here right now, is because you listened to that shift that was coming and you took action. And I'm sure that that change was a leap of faith because it was something so different than what you were used to. But it's brought you here to this point where you are day to day living in a way, doing what you love most. You are just, this is like your happy place. You'll do this all day, every day, no matter what. I know that about you. And so understanding that, I think the oftentimes when we go to take that leap, we're thinking of the future fears or the things that we're letting go of, but we misunderstand and don't calculate the actual gains, the benefits from taking that leap.
And the interesting thing was, I met a couple of folks and we decided that we wanted to go learn about meditation and different ways of being and things. But I know I wanted to do that, but I still had no idea what direction I wanted my life to go in. But I felt like, and tell me if you concur with this, I felt like when I opened the door and said, "So, why am I really here? And what am I here to do?" It seems to me like when I opened that door, the my guides or the universe said, "Oh, okay, I guess you're ready now."
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, I actually think the quality of your questions and the quality of your thoughts during that time make all the difference. If you're somebody who is listening to this and you're feeling that plateau, you're feeling that monotony, you're feeling that lack of really fulfillment in your life, and you think about taking that leap, but you go to the negativity of I don't know and the future fears, and that's all you're focusing on, it will keep you stuck. It will. But really saying, okay, how can I? That's my favorite turnaround. Instead of I don't know, I don't even know what I do, I don't know how to do this, all of the I don't know actually to me shuts down our brains, our minds, the ideas, the inspiration that can flow. But how can I? How can I? What would it look like? And you don't even have to answer it in that moment. Just keep asking yourself that question. I would even say write it up on your mirror in with dry erase marker so that you can see that. How can I make a change? How can I find what I'm really here to do? How can I serve my purpose at this greater level? And watch the universe just drop answers in your lap. Just drop answers. And you better bet it's going to call you to expand and take a leap at some point. But remember to calculate the potential benefits the potential benefits. What could be the best part of this transition? What could be the best part about that leap? And what's the benefit of that? And what's the benefit of that? And what's the benefit of that? That's how you start making a list to train your mind to look at the potential positivity also. And it's important to logically look at, okay, what are the risks involved? What about taking this leap? Pros and cons. How can I do this in the best way for me? I don't always believe that it's best just because you feel something's right for you just to take the leap immediately. Sometimes it takes planning and preparation, but really ultimately to continue on that path is going to benefit you the very most.
That's absolutely true. And you really should plan just at least a little bit.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, because that led to my bad country music song period, but we'll talk about that later. Because when there are actions and there are reactions and stuff, and that's what happens. By the way, we're talking with Dana Parker. We need to take a quick break, and this is another good friend of mine, and she is an expert in the floral design business. So listen to this, and then we'll be right back.
When you want to say more than words communicate, you can with flowers. Your custom boutique floral studio in Bothell, Washington is anaturaldesign.com, connecting you to nature through the language of flowers. Where your people are is where our flowers are beautiful. Your success is our goal.
For being our appreciated listener, you can use promo code PTR20 at checkout to receive 20% off your order.
anaturaldesign.com at your fingertips today.
And see, that wasn't too bad. That was just a minute or so, about 40 seconds. And that is A Natural Design. So you can get 20% off and they will ship it almost anywhere. So if you want to go do that, please do that. We're talking with Dana Parker, and we're talking about really the philosophy of life as I now understand it, that has taken, I don't know, a while for me to figure it out, because it's important that everybody understand that they are born great and they can do whatever they choose to do. And you don't even know, Dana, it's amazing, because when I made that statement, I met this guy who we started doing these spiritual things together and stuff. And he said, I think we need to do a television show. And we couldn't do a television show, but we could do a radio show. And because I'd done radio in college and had done some acting, it was kind of like within my wheelhouse. But I didn't go into it thinking, yes, this is going to be what I'm going to do for 20 years. It was like, well, okay, we can give it a shot and see what happens. But that happens to everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it is a choice, Kevin, and you made that choice and you decided to take a dive and try something new, which is so brave. And it does take courage to do that. So anyone who's willing to do that, I commend you. I think it's brave. And I think it's, those leaps are absolutely call for courage from us. But the most beautiful part is that you were like, sure, why not? And it sparked what seems now, because of what I know about you, it sparked a passion and a joy that you never knew and never had before. Would you say that's accurate?
Oh, that's 100% correct.
And it's never gone out since. It hasn't gone out. And
it can't.
Yeah. And as we look at your gene keys, as we read through your statements of really what you're here for, based off of your unique design, and I don't make those up. This is a beautiful program written by, his name's Richard Rudd, and he created what's called the Gene Keys. That's GENE, Gene Keys. And it really, I mean, when I read mine, I just cried because it felt so true to my soul's purpose and what I'm here to do. But when we read yours, it was like, of course you're going to be doing this. Of course you're going to be doing positive talk radio, or you're going to be doing radio shows, and you're going to be doing this, of course. because it's what you're here to do. It's your soul's purpose. And the beautiful thing is, as you've stepped into that, Kevin, it's like you're living out your life in passion and joy. I mean,
Yes.
what more could you ask for?
You can't. You
Right.
can't. And which is not to say, like
Mhm.
I mentioned, the bad country music song period. It's not to say that we don't have challenges in our lives,
Right.
but what it means is that every day I look forward to getting up, to going and doing this and talking to people like
Mhm.
you. And
Mhm.
because when I was graveyard dishwasher at Denny's, I've wanted to give people clean dishes because I wanted to serve them.
Mhm.
This is the same thing
Mhm.
that I'm doing here is in service to
Yeah.
people.
Yes. And can I speak to that for a second? Because sometimes when people take that leap and then negative things happen, they're like, oh, this means I shouldn't have done that. No, 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 no. When we take leaps or we set goals, the negative stuff inside of us that isn't in alignment, the self-doubts, the worries, the fears, they're going to come up because they're not in alignment. Your thoughts and ideas are not in alignment with where you're headed, and it's your subconscious saying, hey, you got to let these things go because it doesn't align with where you're going. And so everything that happens, it's not going to, just because you take that leap of faith and it's in alignment with your purpose, doesn't mean it's going to be smooth sailing. In fact, it most likely won't be, because the whole purpose of doing new things is to evolve as an individual. And all things are going to happen in your life to help you, to be for your greatest good, to help your soul evolve into the best version of you. And in order to step into those best versions of you, you get to let go of the things that don't align.
And sometimes that involves people
Yeah.
that are close to you.
Yeah.
It involved my wife,
Yeah.
who's now my ex-wife,
Yeah.
happily so.
Yeah.
And all the people that were involved in my life at that time, it no longer works for me and it no longer works for them. And so
Yeah.
that's fine. I say it with love
Mhm.
and have a nice day.
Yeah. Bless and release.
That's
Like,
all you can do. But you
yeah.
know what happened? People like you just magically appeared in my life.
Yeah. There's always a vacuum. It will be filled. It'll be filled to the next level. And just because you take that leap doesn't mean that you're going to have the same experience as Kevin or me, even. Doesn't mean you have to lose everyone, because people can evolve with you. And in fact, giving people the invitation and opportunity to do so can be to a lot of people's benefit. And for some, it's best to say, oh, you know what? We don't align in this next phase of where we're heading. I love you and I want you to head where you want to head, and I'm going to head where I want to go. And we're not lining up, and that's very clear, and that's okay. Let's move forward. And this is where those and it's very, I make it sound so, wonderful and light. It's painful and it's hard. Absolutely. 100%. And it's a normal part of evolution. And you will get through it, and you will create room for people who align more with you.
And what'll happen also is that there will become a block. There'll become a moment in time when you're saying, this is what I want to go do. This feeds my soul.
Yeah.
And somebody will say, well, I don't want you to do that. And it's
Yeah.
like, but honey, it feeds my soul. Well, but it doesn't feed your stomach, so we're not going to let you do that. And so
Right.
you end up not either backing off and then settling.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe the universe conspires with you to do some great things. And my example was my father. That's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what my father did. He
Yeah.
backed off and he just settled for the life of working and coming home and drinking a beer, and that
Mm-hmm.
was that.
Yeah.
Uh, and he did not live his passion, and he
Yeah.
clearly had one. He was a
Mm-hmm.
scratch golfer at one time. A scratch golfer means he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have a handicap. He's
Oh,
like really, 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 really good. He
wow.
wanted to be a touring pro, and he wanted to be a pro at a country club. Well, that didn't pay enough. He couldn't figure it out, and he had
Mm,
3 kids. So
yeah.
he ended up doing a job for a long time that he really didn't like, and that was that. And
Yeah.
so I wasn't going to let that happen to me.
Yeah. And I think that that's what a lot of this next generation is kind of looking at and pursuing and saying, you know what? I don't want to live my life just giving to something that doesn't fulfill me. I'm not interested in that experience. I see a lot of this next generation saying that and doing that. And we have a lot culturally to overcome in these limiting ideas around pursuing our passion. It's like it's so common to hear, oh, that doesn't pay. And and it's so common for people, even parents, to say, oh, be a lawyer, be a doctor, go into engineering. These are things that are going to be lasting, that are going to pay money. And then you get these people, these doctors and lawyers. There's nothing wrong with that occupation, but you get these doctors and lawyers that are like, this is terrible because decision
Because
based
it's
on what
understood.
else told them they should do, because they're not listening to their own soul's calling. And so it's not a soul fulfilling experience. And there are some people that they're born to be lawyers and they love it, or born to be doctors and they love it, and that is like pure joy for them. But there's a lot of people in occupations that they're not loving, that they're not enjoying. It's not a soul fulfilling experience any longer.
No, it becomes something that they're just doing because that's what is expected of them.
It's what pays the bills.
Exactly.
Where you are sacrificing you're sacrificing yourself at the expense of money. That will never pay off and never be happy. It doesn't matter how much money you earn. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how much money you create. That will never be a soul fulfilling path.
Nope.
To put that at your own expense.
Exactly. By the way, we're talking with Dana Parker. We've actually gone through the first half of the program already. It's amazing how fast it goes. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And but we need to take a quick break, and we will be right back after these messages. Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald on the Brushwood Media Network.
We believe in the power of telling your stories. We want to help yours be seen and heard. At the Pacific Northwest Collaborative Magazine, our purpose is to connect you to your community. Let's begin by celebrating the accomplishments of local artists featured in this brand new digital magazine. Here, you can learn about opportunities to creatively come together and support our local community and neighbors through the gift of art and service. If your business or organization would like to take part in this magazine, message us on Instagram at pnw.collab. You can download our free digital magazine at KM Media Pro today.
And welcome back, everybody. This is actually going really quite well, don't you think, Dana?
Yeah, I'm loving it.
This is working out just fine for me, and I did want to mention and get back to knowing your greatness, which is I've been looking. I've found find your greatness. I found how to look for your greatness, but I haven't found any one that is saying know your greatness. You're already great.
Yeah.
You don't need. There is nothing that you have to do. And I also wanted to. Now you've had 4 children, and I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
But so how you obviously know how it works on how you have children. But I was doing the math and figuring it out. Do you know that before the egg and the sperm get together, that there are like 100 million sperm that are all swimming in the same direction?
Yes.
Hoping to make that contact.
Right.
And so you are already, by virtue of the fact that you're here, you're one in 100 million.
Yeah.
And then when you did make contact and you fertilized the egg, 85% of those pregnancies do not take.
Wow. That's high.
Yeah.
Higher than we thought.
It's because they meet in the fallopian tubes, and then they go, and it's just the biology takes care of the rest.
Yes.
And then when you you made it through all of that, and now you were born, and the sad statistic is 2.5 million babies do not make it past week 1 in our world. And so when you think about how unique you are, and by the way, there's nobody else like you. Nobody else has your fingerprints. Nobody else has your DNA. So why wouldn't you be great? But why is it, in your opinion, from all the work that you've done, why do we not believe that we're great?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And it comes from our childhood experiences and programming. It comes from repetition, people of authority in our lives, or really impactful experiences. We as children are these like little sponges, constantly looking at the world and making meaning of it and making meaning of ourselves in it. And so what can happen is we can have these negative experiences that are impactful to us, that we make meaning of ourselves, that cover up the true greatness in us, that cause us to doubt our own greatness. An example, simple but very impactful. The spelling bee. Did you ever do a spelling bee, Kevin?
Not well.
Yeah, where you have to stand in front of the whole classroom and you have to spell a word on the spot in front of everyone. Now, some people, that's like easy. They love it. They thrived in that. Others like me would get this anxiety, palm sweating, and all of a sudden you just freeze. You forget to this understanding of even the simplest of words. And you can make mistakes, and then you're out and you have to go sit down in front of your whole classroom. These kinds of things, as children, we don't know how to logically think through all of that and process that and not make it personal for ourselves. So we make that personal. So we take that in and we're like, oh, I'm stupid because I didn't get that. And then that's repeated several times throughout our lifetime. And if it's impactful enough, you'll find evidence of that in your life, throughout your life. And then you get into adult life and you have these really set neural pathways in your brain, in your mind, and your thoughts and your emotions that set these core identity beliefs about yourself. And you're functioning off of those. We all are functioning off of those. I mean, I've coached people all over the world. This is cross cultures, cross societies. This is a human experience. And those are the things that actually stop us from understanding and knowing, embodying, living out our greatness. Just those. They're just these ideas that we made meaning of as kids that we're unaware of. That's it.
Well, it's interesting that you say that about a spelling bee. Real quick story. When I was in the 8th grade, I really didn't like school, and I didn't like to be as neat as I could, and so my handwriting was a little sloppy and stuff like that. Well, one day I got tired of getting my teacher telling me that I couldn't do it or that it wasn't very good, and so I decided, all right, I'm going to do this spelling test perfectly, because they give you 20 words and they do one word at a time, and so I did that, and I did it. I took time to make sure that I did it perfectly. And the next day we are sitting in class again, and the teacher stands up in front of everybody and says, I saw something yesterday that I didn't think I'd ever see, and I want to show everybody. Held up my paper and said, this is the type of work this young man is capable of, and he just did this, and it's really good, and I wanted to congratulate him in front of the class. You know how I took that was, okay, so what you're telling me is most of the time I'm lazy and I don't do very good work, and so it became a negative rather than a positive. And that's something that I took with me my whole life, was that, and I'm sure that to his dying day, he's passed now, but I'm sure to his dying day, he never even thought about it again. He didn't think of the repercussions, because I had guys in the classroom that were like snickering at me because, boy, what a dumbbell. He can't even do that right unless he got it right one time, and it's become a big deal. So, but
Right.
that happens to us all.
No, that's a great example. And it happens through impactful experiences like that we make meaning of, or someone of authority that we put as an authority in our life says something that's so impactful that we turn and twist and make meaning of for ourselves, whether they meant it or not. Your teacher, he was very well meaning, but you took that and you shifted the narrative of that to fit an idea, a negative idea about yourself, or you created it to be a negative thing. And I'm not saying that's wrong or that's bad at all. I'm just saying that's natural, childlike human behavior for each of us. And actually, as adults, we still do that.
Yeah. Well, you see, and it was coupled with other people that had said you're stupid or you're lazy or you can't do it. And so this was more of just of a confirmation.
Repetition. Yeah, repetition. That repetition that happens over and over and over again. And when you create repetitive thought, it actually creates these neural pathways in your brain that become really strong, and so strong that you're wired. You're firing and wiring, like Dr. Joe Dispenza says, firing and wiring those limiting ideas about yourself. And so when negative things happen, instead of seeing it as, oh my gosh, this is an opportunity for growth, you see it and you add proof that you're stupid or you're lazy or you're unlovable or whatever the idea or the words are. And that is the number one, the root of what holds us back from really knowing. I'm talking not just a head knowing, not just an understanding in the mind, but a knowing in your heart, and that your actions are aligned with your greatness. That is what we mean by knowing, not just a head, but it's heart and it's your actions. You're living out your greatness to the best of your ability at any given moment. And so, go ahead, Kevin.
Well, I was just going to say, because in that knowingness, you understand that the universe is working on your behalf to make all of these things happen.
Always.
And you have the ability to, rather than say, I'd like to write a book, but I could never write a book. Write the damn book.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
I've talked to a bunch of people who are authors, and a lot of them say, well, I just started with page 1.
Yeah.
And then the next day I wrote page 2.
Yeah.
And pretty soon, in 6 months, I had 180 pages.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's Dana, that's part of the second part, which was the adventure of a lifetime. Because if you take it as a challenge and fun and as an adventure, it's like what we were saying at Disney World. If you go to the Pirates of the Caribbean and you've never been there before, it's something that's new and it's happening and it's now and it's fun. Treat it as that, not drudgery and can't do it, because you can.
Yes. And the idea around this too is the adventure of a lifetime. It never stops. Your ability to grow and expand, to create new ideas and beliefs about yourself, to see the world in a new way, it never stops. It doesn't matter how old you are. Your purpose never ends. It doesn't stop. There always is a purpose and meaning and value that each of you individually, every single person listening to this and that will listen to this in the future, it doesn't matter who you are. There's value that you bring to this world. There is value that you offer this world and the world around you, whether it's in the most simplest of forms or whether it's grand forms. It doesn't matter. It all makes a difference because every person makes a difference. the effect of, I think about my mom, who's a grandma, and she really is one of the sweetest grandmas. She loves, like, she will have the grandkids, like, she'll be like, okay, you guys can go, but I'll keep the grandkids. And they know it. They know it. And the most beautiful thing that I watch with my mom is the impact that she has on my children and my brother's children. That is profound. That will affect them for a lifetime, and it'll affect who they affect, and it'll affect who they affect. There's a ripple effect to every soul that we touch, every life that we touch. So every person listening has value.
And I don't care if you're a graveyard dishwasher at Denny's or a bus driver, which I've been that too.
Yep.
And you have an impact.
All of it.
You can make a tremendous impact in anything that you do, and that's part of your greatness.
Yes. Yes.
And we need to take a break real quick. We're a little bit over on that, but that's okay. We're talking with Dana Parker, and you know what I'm going to do, Dana? I want you to tell everybody for this break what it is that you do, how to get a hold of you, because if they didn't listen to the first part of the show, they're getting the idea that you are pretty special and you can do a lot and can really help people. So with that, we're going to take a break, and Dana, take it away.
You can get a hold of me at innerworldmovement.com. My name is Dana Parker. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram, and I would be honored to support you in understanding what your purpose is, your life's work, what keeps you healthy, and what you're here to learn, so that you can understand yourself and make decisions in your life that are in alignment with your soul's desire, who and what your soul wants from this lifetime. And so you can get a hold of me on innerworld.movement, innerworldmovement.com, and contact me there, and you can find my calendar and get on my calendar so that you can start living your greatness.
And I will tell you, is once she learns your birth date and some things about you, she can tell you more about yourself than you can tell about yourself, because she's got the technology, and some of it is technology, to be able to put that together. It really is remarkable.
Thank you.
And she also does hypnotherapy. And so she's also very gifted at that. And you'd be surprised. I was at who you might end up talking to.
It's true. It's true. And that hypnotherapy is really the rewiring, right? The rewiring of the old, understanding those old programs, letting them go and stepping into the new. I really care about lasting change and results for people. I really desire that for every person I work with, is rewiring and aligning yourself to your truth, to live your soul's purpose. And it takes time to rewire those things. And so that's why I use hypnosis and all different kinds of techniques to help actually get results.
And if you can't see her beautiful face, she cares. You can see it in her eyes. You can see it in her smile. She really cares for every human on the planet. And so thank you for that. And that was a great little commercial, and it was live. So and I believe in it. She's my coach. Goodness gracious. Everybody needs a coach.
Everyone.
So with that, we're going to return to the show. So hold on. And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. That's me, by the way. And over there is Dana Parker. She is one of my favorite people on the entire planet because she is really cool. And the part of the really nice thing about this is that we met, I think what has it been, 3 years now?
Yeah, I think so.
3 years ago, and we met because I was referred to her by an author that came on my show who was working with her at the time. And we got to talking and understanding each other. She's been on the show a bunch of times. She's really talented at doing that, and also helping me work through some of the things that I've had to work through. And I've got a story for her, but I'm going to tell that one off the air.
I love it. Yeah. And Kevin, I've seen such a cool change in you since we started working together, meaning you, because I think of what you've learned about yourself, you speak with so much confidence in what you're creating now. your confidence has really deepened. And that's one of the greatest joys in life, is seeing that shift and feeling that shift just in the way someone talks about themselves and what they're creating. And there's such a power in that, because that's when you start to open up all the doors to the universe of like, okay, I'm all in, bring it. Bring me the resources, the people, the things, everything. I'm in.
And it's a remarkable ride that you get, and an adventure of a lifetime that you get to go on, because what happens is you open the door for things, and then music changes, billboards change, things just magically show up in your life, people change, people that, and then you recognize why people come into your life and then they leave your life, but they were there for a particular reason. And I've had that happen 3 or 4 times.
Absolutely.
And it's a really cool thing to see happening. And Dana is a remarkable person in that regard. And you're just so much fun. And the thing that we're going to be doing with the Brushwood Media Network is we're doing this show Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Dana's going to co-host. Not every day. I can't. She's got other stuff to go do.
It's true.
But she's going to be with me from time to time, especially when we have a really good guest that can benefit everybody, because you ask some really cool questions as well.
Yeah. And Kevin, let's really speak to this for a second for the listeners and those just coming to our show, kind of our hopes for what we want to bring on, the type of quality that we're hoping they're going to get from this. And really, again, the foundational focus is to give people tools to help them understand and know their greatness and to live those things out. And there's such a variety of ways to help inform people and give people tools and information so that they can learn more about themselves, so that they can understand why they're here and live out their purpose. So let's just talk a tiny bit about moving forward and some of the ideas that we've had and what we want to create. And I would just love to hear a little bit of your vision too. Like what do you want listeners to get from this? And what is your hope?
I have been doing this since 2002, actually. And I've interviewed over 2,000 people. Now, when I say that, people go, no, that's not possible. And it is, and I have. And I've met some uniquely positive, powerful people in that time. What I want to give everyone is access to that type of individual who gets it. And they may not even know that they get it, but they get it. They might not say, yep, I'm great, I'm wonderful, but they know that they are great. They know that they've got a thing to do in their life, and they're pursuing it to get that done. Because there is, from my perspective now, there is no reason to waste your life. There's no reason to not live your life every day to the fullest. And if you don't know what that is or how to do that, that's why you hire and work with somebody who can help you see these things. I have to, well, all right, I'm going to say this on the air. I'm gonna, Dana. One of the things that she helped me to see was I had a relationship with a individual in high school, and I discovered that individual affected my entire life. Well, I have to bring Dana full circle here, because her and her husband, she got married to my backup on the football team, so I knew them both. But they didn't like Facebook, and they didn't like getting on any of those things. So I was just perusing Facebook, and his brother, who I played on the football team as well, had joined Facebook. And I looked, and his brother was now on Facebook. And so I looked at his about information. You got to go look. What's he done for the last 50 years?
Yeah.
and it said he was a civil engineer or something along those
cool.
lines. He worked for the state. He had gone to Juanita High School. He'd gone to he'd gone to the University of Washington, and he was a widower. She had passed away in 2022. So my high school sweetheart, and I didn't know that until that moment.
Wow.
And so we hadn't talked in 50 years, and she had had a massive influence in my life, and she's gone now.
Yeah.
So I thought that was, but that's how those things happen if you stay open to them.
Yeah, we just were talking about that. That is so fascinating to get that information and to have further information on that. That's really interesting. And I think all things happen for a reason. You know, there's beautiful people come into our lives to teach us beautiful things. And that really, circling back to this show, that's really our hope here, is to bring in some of the best quality people that are going to help you, give you tools, give you information, give you little tidbits that can impact your life forever. And so if you have any suggestions or recommendations, please reach out to us and let us know. Let us know those people, those thought leaders, those coaches or individuals that you find really impactful that you might want to hear from. And we'd love to hear from you and to know what it is you want to listen to. And we'd love to look into that. But really, you never know what one bit of information, you know, just like this woman, Kevin, she had such an impact in your life. She taught you what it felt like to really experience love, right? To really experience that kind of connection with another human being. And, you know, some people, Kevin, go their whole lifetime, they never get to experience that. And you got a taste of that. And I really believe that you got a taste of that because you can experience that again if you want. And we experience things not to have it taken away from us or to lose it forever. We experience things so that we know what we want and to continue to pursue that, but not get caught up in it. Doesn't have to be through her. There's lots of possibilities of how you can experience that kind of connection, Kevin. And I would dare say you're maybe even experiencing some of that soul fulfilling connection through this show. And so there's so many ways to experience that. There's so many ways to have that experience fulfilled. And so staying open to that possibility is really the beauty of that relationship.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a one-on-one romantic relationship. You can be in love with the entire planet.
Yes. And have those soul fulfilling, meaningful connections.
It is so vital, and it is so cool. And Dana, I got to tell you, I hope that you'll come and visit me often.
Absolutely.
I love doing this, and I love doing it with people who I've grown to care about you, and you're just phenomenal. And it's great fun to have you here, and I'm looking forward to it. If somebody wants to get a hold of you again, how do they do that real quick?
InnerWorldMovement.com. INNERWORLD.com. Ooh, the spelling bee stuff. All of a sudden. Spelling bee. Make sure I'm spelling it right. So wonderful. So InnerWorldMovement.com, or find me on Facebook as Dana Parker.
And I'll tell you, I'm so proud and so pleased to be part of the Brushwood Media Network. I think this is going to be a great deal of fun. We're going to have a good time, and I really honestly believe, as I've done from time to time, we will impact people that they don't even know that that's going to happen yet, but it will. And it's so much fun to be here. And again, Dana Parker has been our guest. You're listening to the Brushwood Media Network, and this is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, and we'll see you next time, which in this case will be tomorrow, I believe. So thank you, and have a great day, everybody. Thanks for enjoying this episode all the way to the end. This has been a production of kmmedia.pro. Please visit our website, oddly enough, named kmmedia.pro, for more details about us and our mission which is to provide great, positive programming designed to inspire us all. I'm Kevin McDonald, and I'm proud of these shows, and I truly hope that you'll like them and share them with friends and family. So on behalf of our entire team, remember, be kind to each other because each other's all we've got. We'll see you next time.